The harvest supermoon has always been regarded as a time of intensity, but this cycle carries an energy that feels almost overwhelming in its depth and magnitude. When the moon grows full in October, shining its silver light across the earth, it does more than just illuminate the night sky. It amplifies emotions, reveals truths that were buried, and pushes people to face what they may have been avoiding. This energy is raw, magnetic, and unrelenting, and it moves through the spirit like a tide that cannot be controlled. Those who are sensitive to energy feel it most intensely, but even those who are unaware find themselves restless, unsettled, or pulled into unexpected shifts. The harvest supermoon marks not only the completion of cycles but also the awakening of new ones, and with that comes a profound stirring in the heart and mind. Under the glow of the supermoon, emotions rise to the surface like waves breaking against a shore. People find themselves unable to hide behind masks or suppress what has been brewing inside. Anger, grief, longing, love, and passion all surge forward with a force that can no longer be denied. It is a time when truths emerge, sometimes painfully, sometimes liberatingly, but always necessarily. Relationships that have been strained will reach breaking points, and connections built on honesty will deepen. For some, this will mean confrontation, for others, revelation, and for many, it will mean the realization that change can no longer be delayed. This heightened emotional landscape is not meant to punish but to clear, for the chaos is only the stripping away of illusions that were never meant to last. The light of the harvest supermoon acts as a mirror, reflecting what lies hidden within the soul. Secrets and suppressed feelings are illuminated, and shadows that once lurked in silence are brought into view. This exposure can feel unsettling, for it forces people to confront aspects of themselves or their lives that they may have worked hard to ignore. Yet this revelation is essential for growth, for only when the truth is seen can healing begin. The chaos comes from resistance, from clinging to what is unraveling, from holding tightly to illusions when the universe is urging release. It is through surrender to the illumination that clarity arises, and through acceptance of the truth that freedom is found. The energy of the supermoon does not merely expose, it also magnifies. Everything feels bigger, more intense, more urgent. Small frustrations turn into storms, quiet joys bloom into overwhelming gratitude, minor insights explode into life-altering realizations. This magnification is why the first week of October feels so charged and chaotic, as though the world itself is vibrating at a higher frequency. The heightened energy demands attention, and it pulls people out of complacency. It is impossible to remain asleep under this kind of influence, for the supermoon is a cosmic alarm clock, awakening souls to awareness. The chaos, while difficult, is the fire that burns away what is false so that the clarity of truth can shine without obstruction. In this time, many feel the call to reflect deeply, to sit in silence and allow the light of the moon to guide them inward. The supermoon does not only reveal truths in the outer world but also within the inner self. Feelings long denied rise to the surface, memories resurface, patterns become clear. The awareness can be overwhelming, yet it is also liberating. When one realizes the depth of what has been held within, the opportunity for release and healing expands. The supermoon creates an opening, a cosmic gateway through which transformation becomes not only possible but inevitable. Those who resist may feel chaos consume them, while those who embrace the revelation find themselves stepping into a deeper clarity than ever before. It is important to understand that this chaos is not without purpose. The universe does not stir without reason, and the intensity of this time is meant to prepare and awaken. The exposure of hidden truths may disrupt, but it is also the clearing of old wounds. The amplification of emotions may feel destabilizing, but it is also a reminder of the depth of the human heart and its capacity to feel, to connect, to transform. The awakening clarity that follows is the gift, the reward for enduring the storm. It is a clarity that cannot be manufactured by the mind alone, for it arises from the soul's confrontation with truth under the light of the supermoon. For those walking a spiritual path, this supermoon is particularly potent. It is a time when intuition sharpens, when dreams become vivid, and when synchronicities appear with startling frequency. The veil between the physical and spiritual feels thinner, and messages from the divine come more clearly. This heightened awareness can guide, comfort, and direct, but only if one is willing to listen. Ignoring the signs, dismissing the intuition, or denying the truths that arise only deepens the chaos. To align with the energy of the supermoon is to allow oneself to be guided by it, to trust that the revelations are not random but purposeful, leading toward greater understanding and growth. The chaos that many will feel in the first week of October is the natural response to a surge of energy that cannot be controlled. People may find themselves exhausted, restless, emotional, or highly reactive. Yet within this storm lies an opportunity. It is a chance to let go of burdens that have weighed heavily, to release patterns that no longer serve, and to step into a clearer, more authentic version of the self. The clarity that comes from the harvest supermoon is not always comfortable, but it is always liberating. It strips away illusions, leaving only what is true, and in that truth lies the power to move forward with strength and purpose. The amplification of emotions may test patience, but it also deepens compassion. When one sees their own emotions magnified, they become more capable of understanding the heightened emotions of others. The exposure of hidden truths may disrupt relationships, but it also allows new, more authentic connections to form. The chaos of this time is therefore not destruction for its own sake but the breaking apart of what no longer aligns, so that space may be made for what is real. The clarity that follows the storm is sharper than before, and it gives direction where confusion once reigned. In the midst of the upheaval, it becomes clear that the harvest supermoon is a catalyst. It forces movement where stagnation had set in, it pushes truths into the open where silence had prevailed, and it ignites emotions where numbness had taken hold. This is why the energy feels so unrelenting, for it is not content with half-truths or denial. It is the universe's way of accelerating growth, of pulling people into alignment with what is real and necessary. To resist is to struggle, but to surrender is to awaken. The clarity that arises is not gentle, but it is undeniable, and it clears the path forward with precision. This first week of October is therefore not one to take lightly. The energy of the supermoon is not a passing influence but a wave that washes through every layer of existence. It will be felt in relationships, in decisions, in emotions, in the very air. It is an awakening that comes through chaos, a revelation that comes through exposure, and a clarity that comes through the stripping away of illusion. Those who are open to it will find themselves transformed, not by choice but by necessity, for the energy demands authenticity above all else. The first week of October carries within it a current of energy so potent that it feels like the very fabric of reality is shifting beneath the surface. It is not simply a change of days on the calendar, but rather a cosmic turning point, a spiritual pivot that asks every soul to pause and recognize the magnitude of what is unfolding. The air feels different, heavy with anticipation and charged with unseen forces. The harvest supermoon rises in this week not as a silent witness but as a catalyst, a trigger that sets in motion waves of awakening that cannot be ignored. For the chosen ones, those attuned to divine timing and spiritual truth, this period is not ordinary. It is a calling, a summons to step into greater alignment with purpose, destiny, and higher vision. The chaos is not without reason, it is the breaking down of what is false to make room for what is eternal. This spiritual turning point comes with sudden shifts, and those shifts can manifest in ways both subtle and overwhelming. A conversation that changes perspective entirely, a dream that feels more real than waking life, a moment of synchronicity that makes it impossible to deny divine orchestration. All of these are threads in the larger tapestry. For many, these moments appear like interruptions, like disruptions to plans or routines, but in truth, they are alignments, redirections carefully placed to bring the soul closer to its divine mission. The chosen ones will feel these shifts more deeply than others because their path requires heightened awareness. The intensity of October's first week is like a doorway being forced open, and through that doorway comes both chaos and revelation. The energy of this time demands release of the old. The universe pushes forward, and anything clung to from the past feels heavier, more impossible to carry. Patterns that once felt familiar now feel suffocating, habits that once brought comfort suddenly bring discomfort, relationships or roles that were once tolerable now feel unbearable. It is as though the soul is being stretched, urging its vessel to shed the weight of outdated cycles. The chosen ones sense this strongly, for their very mission depends on shedding illusions and walking with authenticity. The first week of October does not allow stagnation, it requires movement, even if that movement feels uncertain. The divine revelations that come are not optional, they pierce through denial, reminding each person that destiny will not be delayed forever. There is a sense of urgency in this time, as if the universe is saying that tomorrow cannot wait. The chosen ones are being called to prepare, to listen closely to the whispers of their spirit, and to recognize that every event, no matter how chaotic, carries within it a hidden message. Sudden changes may feel unsettling, but they are guiding the soul to align with divine timing. The revelations that surface may disrupt what seemed stable, but they are in service of truth. It is not a time to cling to what is breaking but to see clearly what is being revealed. The chaos is not punishment, it is preparation. The first week of October is a crucible, and within that crucible, illusions burn away, leaving behind the gold of clarity and purpose. Many will feel disoriented as the energy shifts, as though the ground beneath their feet is moving. Plans fall apart, emotions surge, and unexpected encounters seem to appear from nowhere. Yet beneath the disruption is a rhythm, a divine order, one that only becomes clear when trust replaces resistance. For the chosen ones, these sudden turns are reminders that they are not in control of timing, they are participants in a larger orchestration. The spiritual turning point is not something that can be avoided, it is woven into the cosmic cycle, and its purpose is to propel souls into greater alignment. The chosen ones, if they are attentive, will recognize that every challenge in this week is not a barrier but an initiation, each test designed to refine the spirit and sharpen awareness. The divine revelations that come through the chaos are often surprising, but they are also deeply clarifying. It may be the realization that a long-held belief is no longer true, the recognition that a relationship is not aligned, or the sudden awareness of an opportunity that had been invisible before. These revelations can feel overwhelming, yet they are gifts, clearing the fog and showing the path forward. In the light of the harvest supermoon, shadows are illuminated, and the truths that emerge cannot be ignored. The chosen ones, though they may struggle with the intensity, will ultimately find empowerment in the clarity. The revelations are not random, they are the voice of the universe speaking through circumstance, urging movement, urging awakening, urging preparation for the next chapter. This spiritual turning point also carries a collective weight. It is not only individuals who are affected but communities, societies, and the world as a whole. Events in the outer world mirror the inner shifts, tensions rise, systems are tested, and truths are exposed on every level. The chosen ones are not separate from this collective unfolding, they are at the heart of it, placed in their roles to carry light through the storm. The urgency they feel is not only personal but also universal. They are being asked to prepare not just for their own growth but to guide, to support, and to anchor others who may not yet understand what is happening. The chaos is therefore both personal and global, and the chosen ones must stand steady even as the world shakes. The first week of October is a reminder that destiny is alive, active, and in motion. The chosen ones are not here by accident, and their preparation is essential. The divine revelations they receive are not for them alone but for the collective, for the greater good. Their alignment matters because their role is to illuminate paths for others, to hold truth in a world that often clings to illusion, to embody faith when uncertainty reigns. The chaos that surrounds them is the very field in which they are called to rise, to demonstrate resilience, to trust divine timing even when it defies human logic. This is why the energy feels so pressing, why the revelations come with such force, because time is accelerating, and the chosen ones are being readied for what is to come. It is within the disruption that the most profound clarity emerges. When plans crumble, the chosen ones are pushed to rely not on external structures but on inner guidance. When emotions surge, they are taught to listen more deeply to the heart. When truths surface, they are invited to release what no longer serves and step boldly into what aligns with their soul's mission. The first week of October, under the influence of the harvest supermoon, is therefore not a random storm but a divinely orchestrated awakening. It is chaos with purpose, revelation with direction, transformation with meaning. For those who resist, it feels like being torn apart; for those who surrender, it feels like being reborn. The chosen ones must remember that preparation is not about control but about trust. It is not about forcing outcomes but about opening to guidance. It is about staying rooted in faith while the winds of change blow strong. The revelations that arrive this week may alter paths completely, but they also align those paths more closely with destiny. The shifts may disrupt comfort, but they also bring authenticity. The chaos may shake foundations, but it also clears the way for the construction of something truer, stronger, and more enduring. This is the essence of a spiritual turning point. It strips away what is temporary so that what is eternal can take its rightful place. The universe often speaks in whispers, but there are moments when its voice rises above the noise of the world, demanding attention and awakening even the deepest sleepers. The first week of October, under the light of the harvest supermoon, is one such moment. The energy that floods through this time is not soft or subtle, it is fierce, relentless, and illuminating. It is a call for alignment, a divine insistence that the soul release what no longer serves and step forward into its true purpose. For many, this week feels like chaos. Plans unravel, emotions intensify, hidden truths surface, but beneath it all lies the hand of the cosmos, orchestrating a higher order that the mind cannot always see. This is the rhythm of awakening, the pulse of destiny, and it is impossible to resist without suffering. The call is not optional, for the universe does not waste its energy, it sends messages only when the moment is critical. Alignment is the heartbeat of the season. To align is to stop resisting the truth that is already present, to recognize the signs that have been ignored, and to surrender to the path that has always been waiting. Many souls cling to the past, to burdens that weigh heavily on their spirit, to cycles that drain rather than nourish, to illusions that keep them bound. The harvest supermoon strips these illusions bare, leaving no place to hide. It asks each person to look closely at what they carry and decide what must finally be released. This is not an act of loss but of liberation. The burdens released create space for what is true, for the new energies rushing in to fill the void, for the higher destiny that cannot take root in soil already crowded with weeds. This week, the weight becomes too much to bear, and the only option is to let go. Stepping into higher destiny is not a gentle walk but a leap, and it requires courage. The chosen ones, in particular, are called to rise during this time because their missions cannot be fulfilled if they remain entangled in what no longer aligns. Their growth is not simply for themselves but for the collective, for the light they carry is meant to guide others through the storm. The universe knows this, and that is why the call is louder for them, why the chaos seems more intense in their lives, why the revelations feel more piercing. They are being shaped, refined, and directed toward a higher purpose that demands clarity, strength, and authenticity. This week, every disruption, every surge of emotion, every collapse of the old is a message: step forward, align, awaken. The energy of release may feel painful because it is the severing of ties that once felt familiar. Old relationships, outdated roles, or deeply ingrained beliefs may dissolve, leaving behind uncertainty. Yet this uncertainty is not emptiness but a threshold, the doorway to the next stage of destiny. The supermoon light reveals what cannot cross into the future, and the universe demands the courage to walk away from it. The chosen ones feel the weight of this more intensely because they are tasked with leading by example. Their release teaches others how to let go. Their alignment becomes a map for those still wandering in confusion. Their courage to step into destiny inspires others to trust the process. This is why the universe calls so loudly now, why the chaos is so consuming, because it is time for the chosen ones to rise higher, not tomorrow, not next month, but now. The alignment that the universe asks for is not only external but deeply internal. It requires honesty with oneself, a willingness to face what has been avoided, a readiness to confront truths that may have been buried. It asks for silence, for reflection, for moments of listening to the whispers of the soul. The harvest supermoon creates an atmosphere where these inner truths rise to the surface with undeniable force. It is no longer possible to pretend, to ignore, or to suppress. The alignment requires vulnerability, the courage to see the self clearly and to embrace both shadow and light. It is in this honesty that transformation begins. The chosen ones must strip themselves of masks and step into their authentic selves, for only in truth can destiny unfold. The universe's call in this week carries urgency because the window of energy is unique. Cosmic alignments like this do not come often, and when they do, they serve as portals, openings into higher possibilities. To ignore the call is to delay growth, to resist the very forces designed to elevate. Yet for those who step forward, who release the old and align with the new, the rewards are profound. Synchronicities appear with increasing frequency, guidance flows more clearly, intuition sharpens, and doors that were once locked swing open. The chosen ones find themselves not only walking a new path but being carried by it, supported by the very universe that demanded their alignment. The chaos transforms into clarity, the burden into lightness, the fear into empowerment. This week, the universe asks each soul to consider what burdens they carry and whether those burdens serve any purpose. It asks whether the cycles they remain in truly nourish their spirit or simply drain it. It asks whether the roles they play are authentic or only masks worn out of fear or habit. It asks whether they are willing to release, to surrender, to trust that what lies beyond the letting go is greater than what they cling to. The chosen ones, in particular, will feel this questioning as an inner dialogue that cannot be silenced. Every part of their being will sense the urgency of release, the need for alignment, the call to step boldly into destiny. The universe will not allow complacency, it insists on awakening. The release of old burdens is not a one-time act but a process, and this week may bring multiple waves of letting go. Each wave feels like another layer being stripped away, another mask falling, another illusion dissolving. It may feel relentless, but it is also freeing. With each release, the soul feels lighter, the path clearer, the connection to destiny stronger. This is the sacred work of alignment, the refining fire of the supermoon, the chaos that gives birth to awakening. It is a process of purification, a clearing of the vessel so that it can hold the higher energy now being poured into it. The chosen ones may struggle with the intensity, but they will also recognize its purpose. They will see that the universe is not punishing but preparing, not destroying but transforming. In this awakening, clarity becomes the gift. The chosen ones, once burdened by confusion or entangled in cycles that drain them, suddenly see with new eyes. What once seemed impossible becomes clear. What once felt hidden is revealed. What once felt meaningless takes on purpose. This clarity is the reward for release, the blessing that follows the chaos. It is the voice of the universe saying, "Now you see. Now you understand. Now you are ready." It is in this clarity that destiny is embraced, that alignment becomes not a struggle but a natural state, that the chosen ones step into their roles with confidence and strength. This is the awakening the harvest supermoon brings, the higher destiny it demands, the purpose it insists upon. The urgency of the message is that tomorrow is too late. The universe is not asking for preparation next week, next month, or someday in the distant future. It is asking for it now, in this first week of October, under this harvest supermoon, in this moment of cosmic alignment. The chosen ones cannot delay, for the time has come. The old burdens must be released, the illusions dropped, the false cycles ended. The higher destiny must be embraced, the alignment achieved, the awakening accepted. The universe is clear, its message undeniable, its timing precise. This is the moment, and it must be answered. The call is not meant to be frightening but empowering. It is the universe's way of saying that the chosen ones are ready, that they have been prepared for this moment, that their strength is enough to carry them through the chaos. The awakening may feel overwhelming, but it is also exhilarating. It is the sign that destiny is alive, that purpose is real, that the soul's path is unfolding exactly as it was meant to. The chosen ones, by answering this call, step into their roles not as victims of chaos but as leaders of light. They become examples of courage, of trust, of authenticity, of alignment. They embody what it means to release, to awaken, to rise into higher destiny. And so the universe continues to call, its voice echoing in the energy of the harvest supermoon, in the shifts of October's first week, in the hearts of those who are willing to listen. It asks not for hesitation but for action, not for fear but for faith, not for resistance but for surrender. The chosen ones who hear it will know, deep within, that this is the moment that cannot be delayed. The call is clear: release what is no longer yours, align with what is eternal, and step boldly into the higher destiny that has always been waiting. The universe is moving swiftly now, and it demands that you move with it. Answer the call, because this must reach you before tomorrow.